So that side of what I was looking for in having an in-seat delivery service did not exist. And so I remember thinking in October, I've got to surround myself with people that can help this come to fruition, because it's an idea that is not being done. There was mobile ordering, and there still is mobile ordering.
Sure.
But it solves no problem. Just because you can order from your phone in your seat doesn't mean that you're going to have somebody bring it to you. Most of all these platforms and competitors out there, they have to get up and go to the concession line to get your food. Even though you're in a mobile ordering express lane, those lines are just as long sometimes nowadays.
You're still waiting. Yeah,
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So did you have a technology background or a developer? I mean, what's your, how did you end up going? Did you ever think one day you would start an app, or like, how did you connect the dots for me there from?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
No, you're good. I don't have a background. I have a background in hustle.
Okay. I like that. Hey, welcome to another episode of McKinney Momentum by the McKinney Economic Development Corporation. This is our video and audio podcast where we fill you in on projects we're working on, companies we work with, and local McKinney leadership. My name is Luke. I'm the marketing manager here at the EDC, and I'm joined in the studio today by Adam McAbee, who founded a company called StadiumDrop, and he's going to give us all the information on that. They're part of our innovation fund portfolio of over 40 companies now, and they are just doing awesome things. They're incredibly influential in the tech and startup space, and kicking butt and taking names is the only way I know how to say it. So you're in for a treat today. Adam's gonna pull back the curtain a little bit and share some cool stuff. Can't wait to introduce you. So Adam, welcome to the studio. Glad you're here.
Thanks for having me out, Luke. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Did I say your last name right? McAbee? Is that right?
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Very nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you started StadiumDrop with your wife, Kristen.
Yes.
And so I know last night I saw something on social media. You won
Yeah.
a pitch competition of some kind. Could you we'll start with the pitch. Like, give me your pitch that you used to win, or the elevator pitch of StadiumDrop. And then we'll kind of work our way backwards and hear the story and all that.
Yeah, I did co-found it with my wife, but she's the brains of the organization, so it was her idea. But really, just to kind of piggyback off what you just said, what I want you to do right now, if you're watching this or listening to it, close your eyes and picture being present at your favorite sporting event that you've ever been to. Picture the fact that your kids are with you, your spouse is with you, or you've got friends that are with you, and you're the one that gets pigeonholed to go up to the concession stand to get everybody their food and drinks. And while you're sitting there, your other friends and family are sitting back at the stands or in the seats, enjoying it, watching the moments, creating the memories together, but you're stuck in line. And then all of a sudden you hear the roar of the crowd because the crack of the bat, there's a home run, or the touchdown pass that just got scored, or your favorite artist is just taking the stage and starting the show off with your favorite song. But here you are stuck in line, watching it all on a 32-inch screen TV that happens to be broke, and you're missing the moments of why you're there, right? That's exactly what happened to Kristen and I in 2019. My first love, Luke, is Major League Baseball. I grew up loving baseball, grew up watching baseball, and my parents used it as a way to create moments and memories with my brother and I that last to this day. Anytime we're together as a family, we like to reminisce about all the different Rangers games or going up to Chicago and seeing Cubs, whatever. They use sports as a way to entertain my brother and I, but also create moments and memories. And that's the heartbeat and backdrop of StadiumDrop. Well, in 2019, we were at St. Louis and in Cleveland for baseball games on a little family vacation. And in Cleveland, I missed a 3-run home run waiting in line for concessions with my kids. The very next night, I kid you not, bottom of the 5th inning, it's a pitcher's duel. I'm waiting in line, getting my kids again food and beverages. There's a runner on first and a runner on third, and there's errors that happen, and those runners both score, and it's the only 2 runs of the entire game. And I'm sitting here in line watching all of it unfold with the roar of the crowd in the background, screaming bloody murder, go Cardinals, and it's all unfolding on a busted 32-inch screen TV.
Man.
All because I'm a good dad, and I want to get my kids food and drinks, and I got hungry, right?
Right.
So when I got back to my seat, Kristen looked at me, and she said, "You have the worst luck. And I said, yes, ma'am, I know.
This is 2 nights in a row this happens?
2 nights in a row.
Sheesh.
Absolutely. And so I frustrated. I told her, I was like, you're absolutely right. She said, with today's technology, I'm beyond shocked that you can't download an app and have somebody bring you your food and beverages. And what really spurred the thing is I wanted barbecue. St. Louis is known for barbecue. Behind home plate, there was a really good smelling barbecue place when we were touring the stadium prior. Well, everywhere around us, we were sitting in the outfield. They didn't have that. It was just your general concession food. And I was not about to get up and walk all the way around to the stadium to get what I really wanted. So in order for me to get my food, I just settled for the hot dogs and pretzels and popcorn and whatnot that was around us. And so I told Kristen, I'm like, that's brilliant, because what I really wanted, I could have had brought to my seat. And she was like, well, this is ridiculous. You're missing the moments of why we're here for our kids. We spent all this money and you're stuck watching it in line. And I said, that's brilliant. It's a great idea.
Because
So
this is 2019. So
2019,
we're in the era
pre-COVID.
of DoorDash,
Oh,
Uber
yeah.
Eats.
All
Like
of that.
these companies are taking off.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like what you're describing that
Nothing.
exists.
Nothing. So I come home and I start researching it. And there's really nothing.
Yeah.
Having 4 kids, I've always done something on the side to pay for their extracurricular activities.
Sure.
You've got kids. You and I both know they're not cheap.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And
they
so-
don't get any cheaper the older they get.
No, not at all. They're more expensive. And so I've always had some sort of a side hustle.
Right.
You've got your 9 to 5, and then most people that try to advance their life, they have a 5 to 9. Well, my 5 to 9 was door dashing and Uber Eats and
Oh, really?
selling roofs on the side. I've sold supplements. I've done different network marketing companies. I've done a lot of different things to help provide for my kids.
Right.
And so that side of what I was looking for in having an in-seat delivery service did not exist. And so I remember thinking in October, I've got to surround myself with people that can help this come to fruition, because it's an idea that is not being done. There was mobile ordering, and there still is mobile ordering.
Sure.
But it solves no problem. Just because you can order from your phone in your seat doesn't mean that you're going to have somebody bring it to you. Most of all these platforms and competitors out there, they have to get up and go to the concession line to get your food. Even though you're in a mobile ordering express lane, those lines are just as long sometimes nowadays.
You're still waiting. Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So did you have a technology background or a developer? I mean, what's
No.
how did you end up going? Did you ever think one day you would start an app, or like how did you connect the dots for me there? From
Yeah.
maybe
no.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
No, you're
but-
good. I don't have a background. I have a background in hustle.
Okay. I like that. That's good. That's all you need,
That's
right?
it, man. I had 3 friends that knew tech. 2 of them said, "Good luck. Can't really have the time or dedicate the time. It's a brilliant idea. Wish I had the time, and good luck, but I can't do it. It's just very intense." And so I went to the 3rd guy, and he was like, "Yeah, they're not wrong. It's intense, but I just got doing something similar for another company. This is kind of in that same vein, although the code is different and the way you're going to do it is different. We could probably make it work." And so this was all happening in October, November of 2019.
Okay.
He gave me a checklist of all these different things to go do.
Okay.
About 2.5 weeks later, I come back to him with all of it done.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he said the exact same reaction.
Yeah.
He said, "Whoa, nobody ever gets this done.
Yeah, it's probably like a 90-day plan or something.
Yeah, and
You
I got
did
it done in like 2 weeks." And he even said that. He's like, "Nobody's ever done this in 2 weeks. This is crazy." And so he's like, "Yeah, you mean business. I'll do this with you."
That's cool.
Yeah. And so in January, what is today? January 25th?
26th, yeah. We're filming this.
Tomorrow's the 27th.
Okay.
January 27th of 2020 is when we filed our LLC paperwork with the state of Texas.
Wow. Okay.
So we're coming up on 4
4
years.
years. Wow. Yeah.
And then everybody knows what happens in March of 2020. Rudy Gobert gets COVID in the NBA and the world shuts down. My best friend and I were sitting at the Mavericks game that night, pretty close to the floor, and just looking around the stadium going, one day, this is going to be us in the American Airlines Center. This is going to be us in every venue worldwide.
Wow.
And literally like 20 minutes after we were having that conversation, the announcer comes over on the air and says, COVID's happening. Rudy Gobert just tested. This is the last game of the NBA season till further notice. And everybody's like looking around, all suspicious. Like, do you have corona?
Did you just cough? I remember that.
And so that was the last live event we went to that year.
Wow.
And then we had USA softball. We were supposed to test pilot with the Texas Air Hogs.
Okay.
They ended up shutting down that year because of COVID. And then we just kept pursuing. Again, I have a side degree in hustle, right? And so just kept after it. In July of that year, we were going to launch with the Frisco Rough Riders.
Oh, yeah.
In the Texas Wood Bat League.
Okay, yeah.
Good friend of mine to this day. He was the general manager of the Rough Riders at the time. Somebody in their front office came down with COVID, and so they had to shut down literally the day before they were supposed to launch the Wood Bat League. But we kept pursuing it. You and I are both firm believers in the power of who, right? Who do you know? And so we just kept after chasing after who do you know? And my executive VP of operations, his college football coach, is still the groundskeeper for Oklahoma State University. And so with that and some of the other connections that we have with Oklahoma State, they ended up being our first client.
Wow.
They came to us in August of that year. They finally responded to our constant, chasing them down.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know what they were going to do. Well, they ended up opening up at 25% capacity.
Okay.
And they needed a way to keep their fans in pod seating, but they also wanted the fans to participate in the nostalgia of stadium food. And so that's how StadiumDrop, really got its start, was with Oklahoma State University. And then the next week, Arkansas State University came on board. And the rest is, as they say, is history.
So it starts almost with this deflating feeling. You're in this NBA stadium, and the whole league is shutting down.
Yep.
And you're going from, you could see yourself delivering in seats to like, now there's no stadiums open anywhere.
Nowhere.
To where now OU sees it as an opportunity to maintain social distancing and protect that pod seat. So what became kind of an adversarial situation ended up being a good foot in the door in a sense.
And really, for somebody like me who is just put your foot on the gas and just go, it forced me to slow down and say, hey, wait a minute, how can we make this even better? And so with universities, it really was that catalyst that helped them keep fans in pod seating, but give everybody a sense of normalcy of just being back out in public during that time. And it was, looking back at it now, it was amazing to be a part of that experience of letting fans back into the venues. Because for me, sports has always been a big part of my life. Playing it and then having kids that play it, and just the love of sport gives people that those moments that create memories. And that's the whole backdrop of what we are. And looking back at it, that's really what we were able to do, is get people back into the buildings to watch those moments that create memories.
Yeah, that's so good that it's not necessarily about something that is like one product, right? Your product is memories. Your product is family time. And I love that spin, or the whole messaging there.
Yeah.
Because my son now is 7, so we've been going to different games for a while. And his favorite part, he loves watching the sports, but he loves the nachos.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If we
Stadium
don't get,
nachos are the best.
If we don't get nachos and a Coke, we may as well not have gone, right?
Correct.
But the fact remains, and while he may not be as into the sports as me, or as wanting to dial in on the games, one of us is going to miss the moment if we're both in line, right? So it's something that when you set up that pitch at the beginning of close your eyes, imagine you're at the stadium, like I think all of us who've ever been to a game have lived that moment.
Absolutely.
Where you miss it. So catch me up to today. Now that's 2020.
Correct.
4 years later. What's happening? What's going on? What are some recent wins we can talk about? What's StadiumDrop look like today?
So today we are in about 14 venues. Shortly after we launched with those first 2 universities, we were doing a friends and family round of funding. Yeah. And the Denton Record Chronicle picked up the article that they had a local family in town that was building this cool creative app. They launched the article. The IT director for AT&T Stadium found the article on a Facebook post real late one night, realized we had a couple friends in common, So we reached out to them, and thankfully, those two friends vouched for me.
Yeah.
Because the next day we're on the phone with some of the representatives at the stadium food and beverage team. That following Monday, we're on the phone with them and a couple of representatives with the Cowboys. And then in May of 2021, we launched a soft launch with soccer in AT&T Stadium, and we've done every event in that building since.
Wow.
Every
so this
event.
is Garth Brooks, Taylor Swift.
Yeah. All 3 nights of Taylor Swift. Wow. WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Every Cowboys game.
Monster Jam stuff that's
Monster
there.
Jam.
Yeah.
Motocross is probably one of my favorite events that I've been to so far. Just seeing those bikes in that huge stadium flying through the air.
Do you get moments where you can go work an event like that and still enjoy it? Or are you pretty much dialed in the whole,
I'm pretty
do you
much,
get to enjoy the event at all when you're there?
the first 3 or 4 years, or first 3 years, I was extremely dialed in. This year, I was able to kind of pull back a little bit and start doing what I love to do, which is interacting with customers and clients and the client that we serve, which is the Dallas Cowboys and Legends. And so I love being able to, be able to do that now.
Yeah. You got a bigger team around you.
Got a much bigger team. They're phenomenal. They're operating AT&T Stadium they're phenomenal with it. So
you're in Denton at the time. Denton Record Chronicle picks up a story about you.
Yep.
Someone at AT&T Stadium sees it.
Yep.
This is, we need to talk to this guy, vets you through his friends, mutual friends. And then since May of 21, you're there.
Correct.
You're like the in-seat delivery service.
We are the in-seat delivery provider for AT&T Stadium.
That's amazing. You're also in Toyota Stadium with the FC Dallas. I mean, you said 14 venues, so that's impressive.
It's pretty huge when you think about it. SMU, Toyota Stadium, the Star, Comerica, Frisco Rough Riders, Oklahoma State, Arkansas State, Birmingham Barons, Dell Diamond and the Round Rock Express, Pensacola Blue Wahoos.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's some really cool things that are coming that I can't really talk about just yet.
Yeah. I was going to say,
I will.
I bet.
If you follow me on Facebook, and you saw my Facebook post today, I kind of made a little bit of a post about a teaser of some things that we're working on. And I'll just tell you this. We had a client reach out in Oklahoma City that handles the College World Series. They reached out yesterday. So
wow, okay.
Meet with them about doing some things with the College World Series for softball later this year. So.
That's awesome. So this is all just foundational, and there's much more to come.
Much more to come.
It's pretty cool. So talk to me about the gig economy a little bit. You mentioned you've done like Uber, DoorDash, all that stuff.
Yeah.
How does what you're doing, because I'm assuming a StadiumDrop in-seat runner is a gig worker. They're a contractor through StadiumDrop. How does that compare to whereas if I was to sign up to DoorDash or sign up to run food for you? What does that look like?
It's very similar. The difference is we actually are W-2. With the way that the world and the economy is going, the gig workers are going to be in a position where W-2 is going to be the norm, not the outlier. So we've already kind of made that transition. So our workers make minimum wage at $7.25 an hour, but they get 100% of their tips.
Oh, okay.
I've got gig workers that are walking out of these events making $400 or $500 in what I call active time. So if you've ever done DoorDash or Uber Eats, or if you've driven for Uber, you have active time and you have non-active time. So our non-active time is call time. So we have about 2 or 3 hours before the doors even open that our staff has to come in, get checked in, get their wristbands, all that kind of stuff. They get assigned to their area. And then when the doors open to the time that we stop running the app, it's about a 2.5, maybe a 3 hour window, depending on the event.
Sure.
That's their active time.
Gotcha.
And then they're there maybe a total of 6-7 hours for the whole day. So you've got 3 hours of active time and you've got maybe 4 hours of non-active time.
Gotcha.
And so when you start looking at the active time, our runners are making $40, $50 an hour.
Wow.
And then when you couple the whole time that they're there, they're still averaging $18 to $25 an hour. Again, I've always had that side hustle mentality.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer that a worker is worthy of their wages. And so I don't pick and choose. There's no single file line where you get an order, then the next person in line gets the order, and the next person in line gets the order. No. This is a worker's worthy of their wages. So if you're hungry and you want to put food on your table, you're going to bust your butt.
Right.
You're going to go make money.
Right.
And so that's how we've operated our company.
Yeah,
and
level playing field. Anybody can jump in there.
Anybody can make it.
Yeah.
Anybody can do what they need to do and make what they need to make to buy the diapers, buy the food, pay the car payment, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, you get to enjoy some pretty cool events.
Yeah. I think that's a cool side to this too that maybe
Yeah.
gets overlooked is that a lot of people nowadays are looking for that side hustle or looking for, I have a full-time job, but life's expensive right now. I need something to help. So a couple hours on a weekend here and there.
Nothing.
Man,
And
that's
the crazy thing about it is the gig economy and the generation that is in the workforce today, they're so focused on themselves and not in a bad way. Hear me out. It's not necessarily a bad way, but they don't want to be locked into a traditional 9-to-5 job. They want the flexibility of being able to work a full-time job, so to speak, without having to go into the same warehouse or the same office building day in and day out.
Right.
They want that flexibility of being able to pick up a 7 or 8 hour shift, work that shift, go home and get paid.
Yeah.
And so every day of the week, they may work 7 days in a row and then take 4 days off or take 2 weeks off. I mean, that's the flexibility that the gig economy gives them now. So we're just excited to be a small part of that.
Yeah. And they really want to have that schedule ownership that
Correct.
they can control when they
wanna
clock in,
own
when they
their
clock
own.
out.
Correct.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's so we kind of talked about some what's next and some things that are happening kind of brewing beneath the surface. I want to talk a little bit about how you ended up in McKinney. And I know the story, but I want to just kind of fill our listeners in. So you and I went to church together a long time ago, and I moved back to the Metroplex for this job at the McKinney EDC. And we just went to lunch, I think at the Star or somewhere over there.
City Works.
And we're kind of catching up.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you ended up understanding the Innovation Fund and what was happening in McKinney and how you ended up making McKinney the home base for StadiumDrop.
Yeah. So after that lunch, I went and did some research about just economic development commissions in general.
Okay.
And educated myself on a lot of different things that they do. And what's really unique about McKinney, no pun intended. Actually, maybe it is puns intended.
Yeah.
But
branding, right?
Yeah, right. They have an innovation fund that actually wants to bring new up and coming startups in the tech space to McKinney to just continue creating that uniqueness that makes McKinney so great to be around. I've been in this area my whole life. I was born and raised in Greenville, Texas, which is a town 30 minutes east of here. And so McKinney's always been the lifeblood of Collin County. Forget Frisco. No, I don't mean this disrespectfully to Frisco, but like McKinney is everything about Collin County. And everything started in McKinney, in Collin County, and everything comes through McKinney in Collin County. And so for us, it just made sense to be in McKinney. A lot of us live near McKinney. Some of us live in McKinney. So for us to plant our roots here and have our headquarters here, it just makes sense from that standpoint. From a regional standpoint, McKinney is super close to Love. It's super close to DFW International. We're 30 or 45 minutes away from every major sporting venue in DFW. I'm 2 hours away from Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma, 3 hours to Oklahoma State. We can really get anywhere we want within a very manageable time being in McKinney.
Yeah.
So I love McKinney.
Yeah.
Always have, always will. It's always had a special place in my heart. And so for us to be here in this community, building something pretty special in a special place, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think what's cool is that you didn't necessarily think of partnering with an EDC before.
No.
Because what we have with the Innovation Fund is a little different. So you had to kind of, I
do
remember
a lot
those
of
conversations,
research.
kind of do some digging and go, what is this all about? Worked with our
We
projects
talked
team.
for at least 3 or 4 weeks before I gave you permission to put me in touch with your innovation fund.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So and it's kind of a fun thing to see. Our goal is, hey, Google started in a garage, Apple started in a garage, Amazon started in a garage. Why can't those garages be in McKinney, right?
Correct.
And so the next big startups that are shaping the landscape of America in a digital world, why can't they come from here? So it's cool to see. I mean, I'm looking forward to headlines to come of what happens through StadiumDrop and what's next for you guys. So
Absolutely.
I want to hit some rapid fire, kind of more personal questions.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about StadiumDrop necessarily that we didn't cover that you want to touch on?
I think for me, being in a position, like you mentioned, we've known each other for a while and gone to church together. For me, being just a small town guy from Greenville, Texas, to be in the position where we are, it's humbling on so many levels. This last year, my wife was nominated for Startup CEO of the Year. As a couple, we were nominated for Startup of the Year, both through Tech Titans and through the Venture Dallas, which is a really great organization. 2 weeks ago, we were nominated for Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Wow. And it's really humbling. And then last night on the campus at SMU, we're part of Founders Live, the first pitch event for 2024. 5 incredible companies there last night. And to be able to be in that position where we were voted by the group and the public that was there, voted as the winner of the pitch event, it's just, again, I'm a blue collar dude from Greenville, Texas.
Wow.
Graduated from Greenville High School. So, it's been humbling to say the least.
And that's super inspiring. Like American dream in a nutshell, right? You just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, make an idea happen, monetize it. Yep. It's amazing.
Thank you.
At this pitch competition you won, did you do at the beginning of this episode, we close your eyes, imagine was that kind of your pitch?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's because literally chills during that. Like
Yeah.
because everybody has that memory. Like everybody has that moment.
Yeah. Not everybody loves sports, right?
It's true.
But everybody loves something that you go see. Sure. Whether it's concerts, bridal showers, auto shows. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, our vision and mission is anywhere there's people gathered to enjoy an event and there's food and beverages being bought and sold and cash is exchanged for that, there's going to be lines created.
Yeah.
And we have a use case for all of that. So our total acquirable market is huge on a global scale.
Yeah.
It's huge on a local scale. But when you start thinking globally and start thinking how much expansion there is in the in-seat space or the food and beverage delivery space at events and venues, it's unbelievably huge.
And I imagine as you enter into fundraising rounds, which you're in now,
correct,
that's something that's very appealing. It's like this is not necessarily just a sports company. I mean,
correct.
I know we're coming up on Super Bowl's coming up, and our whole world's thinking about football right now. Well, America.
Go Chiefs.
Okay, Sorry, your Cowboys didn't.
Derailing because
it is what it is. But we'll see what happens there. But there's also more to it than that. So as you're entering these fundraising conversations, which I imagine connect with you on LinkedIn, what would be the best way if someone's watching this and they want to invest, they want to get involved? How do I make that happen?
The biggest way is following me on LinkedIn, sending me a DM. I respond as fast as I can to all of them. The other way is just shoot me an email. Right? Adam at StadiumDrop.com is the easiest and fastest way to get a hold of me. And I will respond to all emails within a 24 to 48 hour period.
That's awesome. I love the idea that it's bigger. It's about experiences, not just sports.
Correct. It is.
So that's awesome. And I'll put all your info in the show notes of this too to anybody that wants to get in touch as well. And just follow the story. You're also a huge reader.
I am.
And you always I love your LinkedIn book recommendations.
Thank you.
So tell me about, we'll kind of use that as a transition to go into some rapid fire.
Yeah.
Tell me about the best book you read last year. Or in recent years.
In recent years, my top 3 would be How Champions Think, which was given to me by one of our mentors, Danny McDaniel.
Okay.
Phenomenal book.
Yeah.
Next book would be Traveler's Gift from Andy Andrews.
That's one of my top 20 for sure. It's a good one.
Modern day story. It's incredible. And then Excellence Wins. Most people have never really heard of that book, but it's written by Horst Schultz.
I thought you were saying it was written by a horse.
No.
I was like, a horse wrote a book?
Right? That'd be awesome. Horst Schultz.
Okay.
He's the founder of Ritz-Carlton.
Oh.
And so when you start talking about things that we enjoy today in Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A's culture comes from Horst Schultz.
Wow. Yeah.
That whole excellence wins mentality is what drives my wife and I. It's driven us for years. We didn't even know what it was. Until I read that book. It's by far number 1 on my list. If you've not read it yet, you've got to go read that book. It is life-changing from not just a business perspective, but in everything you do. Excellence wins the day, period. If you want to be successful in home, if you want to be successful in business, if you want to be successful in church, wherever you're at, strive for excellence.
That's good.
Your excellence. I'm not trying to strive for your excellence. I'm trying to strive for my excellence.
Right.
Day in, day out, I'm giving my best. It's, Dabo Sweeney of the Clemson Tigers. He created that whole best is the standard culture, right? It's my best. That's the standard. Your best. It's not your best for me. It's my best. What can I give? Am I giving everything every day, and I'm laying my head on the pillow at night extremely exhausted? Because if I don't, then I've left something out there.
Yeah. Give your best effort.
Best effort every day.
And I think the seed of excellence, like you mentioned Chick-fil-A, it came from, it's this intangible idea that you can tell when it's not there.
Correct.
Like, for example, Popeye's chicken sandwich, amazing chicken sandwich,
Great
right?
chicken sandwich.
You go into Popeye's, they're all terrible, right? Like the restaurant itself, the culture is, people are miserable. You go into Chick-fil-A, although the chicken sandwich may not be as good, there's this quality of excellence that makes you want to be in there.
It's inviting.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this all stems from that concept.
From the Ritz-Carlton concept.
Wow, okay.
Yep. And you go, I haven't been to Ritz-Carlton in years, but you go in, it's the same type of feeling. The you walk in and the atmosphere is instantly set. You know you're at the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah.
You walk into a Chick-fil-A, atmosphere is instantly set.
That's true.
You know you're in a Chick-fil-A.
100%.
You can't say that for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to say by StadiumDrop is whenever you're being served by one of our runners, atmosphere is instantly set. You know you're being served by one of our runners.
That's so good.
Whether we're white labeled or not.
Yeah.
You know you're being served by StadiumDrop.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
That's good. So, okay, books. Tell me about your first job. What was your first job?
Ace Hardware in
No way.
Greenville, Texas. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Ace Hardware.
All right.
I knew nothing.
Yeah, but you had the hustle, right?
I had
That's
the
it. What's the best meal you've ever eaten?
Oh, man. I don't know if it's a meal per se. I'm a burger guy.
Okay.
The Yard here in McKinney, believe it or not, has some incredible burgers and fries.
Yeah.
My favorite taco place is Cheetos in Frisco.
Cheetos. That may have been where we ate.
That is where we ate.
Yeah.
Right across from Toyota Stadium.
Okay.
Got to go to Cheetos Mexican.
Okay.
It's really, really good.
Well, no shame anyone not eating a McKinney. They can go to Frisco and eat.
Yep. Cheetos is amazing.
What time of day are you most productive?
That would be morning time.
Okay.
I try to get up early before the world gets going. Try to do my reading. You mentioned I'm an avid reader. I read 30 minutes every day, regardless of what's going on.
That's awesome.
Sometimes most every day it's in the morning. Sometimes it's in the afternoon or it's in the evening when people go to bed. But I try to read every day. And then I just try to journal and pray every day. And that's just kind of my morning routine. And that's usually, I get more done between 8 and 10 than most people do all day, just because I block that out and I don't let anybody hijack my time.
That's so good.
2 hours,
yeah,
good to go.
And I imagine, especially with StadiumDrop, a lot of your other stuff is happening in the evenings, and games and events and stuff is happening at night. So that morning is really valuable to dial into your best self. So,
100%.
What is a bucket list travel destination for you?
The Maldives. I want to go. I want to go sit in one of those bungalows for a whole week with no cell phone, no computer, and I want to be able to walk from my bed and out into the water.
Yeah.
Or Bora Bora, either one of those.
Yeah, same thing. But
same concept.
Maldives, I didn't realize this. The end of the scene of the movie Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, that was shot in the Maldives. Yeah. And it's the first time I was like, I need to go there.
Yeah.
So I'm there with you, brother.
Yeah. My niece and nephew, they're big Lord of the Rings fans, and so is Kristen. One of Kristen's deals, I want to take her to New Zealand, to all the different places where Lord of the Rings was shot. A lot of the beautiful scenery in Lord of the Rings was shot in New Zealand.
Yeah, the New Zealand. It's a whole tour, isn't it?
It's
like you can basically take Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings tour in New Zealand.
Correct.
It's amazing. That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
We're showing our nerdy side a little bit.
That's all
between
right.
Lord of the Rings and
That's
Star Wars.
Right. It's all good. It's
all right.
good.
Last one. I don't know that this is kind of a audible I'm calling here. What is the best thing you've bought for less than $100 that you can't live without?
Best thing I've bought for under $100 that I can't live without.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Under 100. Man, with inflation today.
I know. Should we bump it up to 150?
Let's do 150. I'm a big shoe nerd.
Okay.
And I love Jordans.
Okay.
And I love Dunks. I've got a pair of Jordan. Well, those were more than 150. Oh,
you can get some Jordans for 150 though. Like that's
Jordan Lows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Lows you can.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a big card collector. I love sports cards and sports memorabilia. I've always done that, even before StadiumDrop. I have a PSA 10 Evan Carter call-up card from his rookie year last year when the Rangers won the World Series. I picked it up off eBay for $50.
Okay.
Just recently. And it is, I love Evan Carter. So if you're watching this, I'd love to meet you. Big Wyatt Langford fan. He's an up-and-coming dude that's been tearing up the minor leagues last part of last year after he got drafted. Yeah, so any of their cards.
You'll have to connect with Michael Talley, our SVP, after. He's a huge collector as well. So
Nice.
you guys could talk
I go to
all day just about that.
In Allen, they have the
that's right.
Dallas card shows every quarter, once a quarter.
Uh-huh.
I go to almost all of them.
Yeah, you'll probably run into him there. He's
Probably
there too.
will.
Well, man, this has been awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super thankful that you were here. Is there anything else that we, again, maybe didn't touch on, or that, again, best way to get a hold of you, LinkedIn, email, all that?
LinkedIn, email, Facebook. I'm pretty available and accessible. I just appreciate you having me on here. I love telling the story. Everybody, you're a big book writer. Like the story and the journey that StadiumDrop has been on. Everybody keeps telling me I should write a book. I should write a book.
Absolutely.
So I need to get with you.
Yeah.
You can help me write, and it'll be Adam and Luke just sitting down, just
Let's do it,
writing a
man.
book.
This mark it here. This is where it all started. The book, the
Let's do
Stadium
it.
Drop journey,
do
the
it.
book.
Let's do it, man. Seriously.
Man, you guys are killing it. We're thankful
you.
you're here at McKinney, a part of the Innovation Fund, and looking
you.
forward to the headlines to come.
Absolutely.
Like I said, congrats on all the recent success, and
Thank you.
just major props to you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Man, I hope you got as much out of that conversation as I did, and that you now have some books added to your Amazon cart. Great content, great message. Just the idea that, man, a good old boy from Greenville, Texas can pull himself up and start this amazing venture and just watch what happens. So I hope you learned something, grew a little bit, and are on a path to kind of be encouraged and inspired by Adam and the StadiumDrop story. Again, more episodes like this are coming down the pipe for 2024, and we'd love to have you like, follow, subscribe on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform. And leave us a review if you're following along and you like what's happening here. Stay tuned for the next episode of McKinney Momentum.